Hello, everybody, and to welcome. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalam. Just kidding. How is everybody doing? Today, we want to talk about some very important topics, namely, there are some issues that need to be talked about, such as that the fact that Satan urinates into our ears, the fact that Satan goes up our noses, the fact that Satan laughs when we yawn, the fact that Satan farts when the adhan is announced, and many other things. These are things that people have forgotten, and I feel like in today's society, in a society which is so much full with degeneracy, so much filled with weak morality, and all of these, if we just remembered. If we just remembered the fact that Satan urinates into our ears, if we don't wake up in time and do our prayers. If we just remembered these things, maybe we could fix everything, and we would create much better societies. And with that deep and moving speech, I want to say hello to Brother Rachid. How are you doing, Brother Rachid?
I'm good. I'm good. I just was consumed by those advices that you were giving. Like
Very, very. I
very
see why.
important stuff.
I
I
see
mean, I
why.
can't live without them.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Uh, so I said David Wood, Brother Rashid, and AP. David Wood said he's going to jump on at some point. He's busy with something. He always makes excuses. He's probably sleeping. I don't know.
Yeah.
And but he will join at some point. But today we want to talk about what a wonderful prophet Muhammad was and the wonderful things that he has done. Do you want to briefly give us an introduction to what a fantastic prophet Muhammad was and how honorable he was and all of that?
Yeah. I mean, he was that wonderful that when I discovered stuff about him, I didn't want to be like even like in the same planet with him. To that point. I mean, when you read stuff about Muhammad, seriously, he was portrayed for us as the most wonderful person that he ever went or stepped on this earth. He is the perfect example. He is the role model that we should follow. He is the most beloved one to our hearts. We can't say his name without saying the prayers about him. He's more loved than our parents. We are ready to sacrifice our lives for him. Bi abi wa ummi anta ya Rasulullah. By my father and my mother, we will do anything for you. And then you start reading the real biography of Muhammad, or at least what we had received about Muhammad. Because in reality, we don't know exactly who was this guy. And just like what Ibn Ishaq wrote for us 130 years later. So the real person we don't know. But anyway, this personality that was given to us, when you start reading stuff about it, you just get shocked. It's not what they presented to us. He was um, warmonger. He was obsessed with sex. Uh, he has no mercy for the slaves he get or the girls he get. He dismisses their emotions and he just want to do sex with them. He is like the opposite of everything we had in mind about him, and this is, I think, the shocking part for Muslims.
I think one of the interesting things that I still think is the one instance, the one hadith where he where he sees a woman outside and then he gets indecent thoughts and he has to quickly go to his wife and have sex with her, and then he goes out and tells the Sahaba, he says, when you go a woman approaches in the shape and form of a devil, so if you see
Yeah,
a woman, go to your wife. And the funny thing is, you could say that is maybe a normal reaction of some really horny man, but when you grow up as a Muslim, you grow up with this reverence and this love and this admiration for the Prophet Muhammad, who is supposedly, the ultimate perfect human being.
Yeah.
And it's strange to then, reconcile that with the fact that he had such a weakness toward, you know, any random woman walking outside, that he would have to go and have sex with his wife uh, to get rid of the urge to have sex with that woman outside, which is it's wild, right?
It is insane because imagine like you're sitting. People don't realize the impact and the depth of these things. Imagine this one. He's a prophet. He's not just a normal man. He's a
Yeah.
prophet. He's the savior of humanity. He is the role model. He's sitting with his friends, his companions, talking about big stuff, about God, about the universe, about Gabriel. You imagine the guy's really into it and he's like in a different world. And suddenly you read like he looked at a woman and he was like, "Sorry guys, I had to go do something quick and I'll be back, okay? I'll be back." And he goes inside and he finds Zainab. Zainab is like working hard inside the house. She's trying to do something. She's working on her daily stuff, and he will be like, "Hey, quick, 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 quick! I can't wait." Now, and then he goes to bed. He releases himself, and he goes back to his friends. They'll be like, "Oh, women comes in the shape of the devil," and they just walk away in the shape of the devil. So if you see a woman, just go do it. And they will be like, "What happened, oh Prophet of Allah?" Well, I mean, I went and I did sex. And what were you talking about? Like, let's go back to God and the universe and what happened. Like, this is exactly what was happening. And do you trust? I mean, imagine. I'm not saying. Imagine you're sitting with David, and suddenly you will be like, "No, no, wait a minute. I have to go now." You will
Because the
just
woman just
make,
walked by. Yeah.
yeah, you will make fun of him the whole year. Imagine if a prophet did it.
It is so weird, right? I mean, you would expect some self-control. Well, you know what the funny thing is? There's this Muslim apologist YouTuber. He was reviewing a video of mine where I was talking about how Muhammad was constantly horny and sex addicted, and
Yeah,
that he saw the woman outside and he had to quickly run to his wife and have sex with her to relieve what is on his mind. So the Muslim apologist reviews my video, and he's like, "So what's the problem? What's the problem? What did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? Did he do something bad to the woman? No. He went home to his wife to relieve himself. What is the problem with
yeah,
this?" Like, and I'm just thinking, wow, okay, so their expectation of him doing something bad, would be like that he goes and rapes that woman.
yeah,
But
yeah,
him being like completely having a complete lack of control and being so pressured, this being so weak. And I'm not saying that this is not something that can, that shouldn't be existing among humans. It could happen to any human. Regular humans are weak, but it
yeah,
is supposed to be the perfect human to ever walk the face of the earth. It happens to him, and
yes.
that you take that guy as the guy who is like in deep trouble because he can't walk outside without thinking about having sex with all the random women that he sees. It's, it's just
And,
weird.
and the problem, this guy, he is the one who's teaching us about how to control ourselves, how to be not think, like not even look at women and look at her in a bad way, and he's the one who's doing it in front of his companions. It's mind blowing. And imagine this guy, he has many wives. He had at least 11. It's not like he's deprived. And he turns around at night going from one to another. So you really don't lack sex in your life. It just probably last night you had 9 of them. You made the tour, the tawaf hawla, the tawaf around around your wives, and the morning you are going to Zainab quickly right now. I need you now.
So this is what we're talking about. It says,
Yes.
inside Muslim, Jabir reported that Allah's messenger saw a woman, and so he came to his wife Zainab as she was tanning a leather and had
Yeah.
sexual intercourse with her. He then went to his companions and told them, the woman advances and retires in the shape of a devil. So when one of
Yeah.
you sees a woman, he should come to his wife, for that will repel what he feels in his heart. So she is busy tanning leather. He quickly goes and grabs her and has sex with her because he just saw a woman outside. And then he blames it on the women and says they come in the shape of a
Exactly.
devil.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, why you blame the woman? Who has the devil in his head? I mean, she comes in the form of a devil. The woman was just walking as any woman in the world. What did she do wrong? Why you call her? She goes in the image of the devil. You have the devil with you right there.
But she was walking outside. She was breathing. Like, how dare she? That's what the devil would do.
Yeah, imagine if today I look to a Muslim woman and then I look at her, that look, what Muslims are going to say about me? And this is their prophet.
Yeah.
Look at their woman. That woman, but she is the sister or the daughter or the wife of one of them, supposedly the companions. And he looked at her that way, and he couldn't like control himself. It just humiliating. I think they should be ashamed of this.
And this is the issue, right? This is not just something that Muhammad personally had a problem with, and we're just sitting here bashing Muhammad's weird things for no reason. It is that Muhammad's problems, Muhammad's behavior, his words like these influenced Muslim culture, Muslim thinking so much. You and I both know how men treat their wives, their women
Yeah,
in Muslim culture, and this extreme possessive attitude that people have toward their wives, their daughters, or other women in general, which is like you know don't laugh, don't speak too loud, don't do this, don't do that, be
true.
careful how you laugh, how you walk outside, you might entice people. Anything that the
Yeah,
woman does is she's blamed for it, she's shamed for it, and she's constantly kept under control. And because of that, all kinds of bad treatment and abuse toward the woman is excused. And that doesn't just happen because Muslims happen to somehow be that way. It happens because, as you can see, Muhammad himself, he sees a woman, he's enticed by some random woman outside, and he calls her the devil because he couldn't resist her appearance outside because she existed. And just like this, when in Muslim culture, quite often when a Muslim is outside, when a woman is outside and she does something and somehow entices a man, and by that I'm talking about just existing probably or just walking down the street, they will blame the woman, and this is because of
yes.
Muhammad.
Yeah, and I'm asking, was it after the hijab? Probably she was wearing a hijab too, and still
That didn't solve the problem. So I want
didn't
to come
solve the problem.
I want to come to one specific thing. Actually, I was looking through your Twitter account and I was following you and what you were tweeting, and you were tweeting a lot of good stuff about Muhammad. So I saw this one hadith that you brought up and a question you brought up, and I thought, hey, I really want to have a conversation about all of this. So we're specifically talking about Muhammad being so obsessed with sex that he hallucinates. You tweeted, Muhammad was obsessed with sex to the point that he was hallucinating about it. He wakes up in the morning thinking he had sex with his wife Aisha, but she tells him, no, we didn't. What are you talking about? Muslims explain that by accusing Jews. They say a Jew bewitched the Prophet.
Yeah.
Of course, the Jews should be blamed for everything, even for Muhammad's sexual hallucinations. And then you
Yeah.
brought up this very good point and said, do you think a man who can't even figure out if he had sex last night or not should be trusted if he says he's the messenger of the Almighty?
It's insane. Imagine, like, I just imagine, let it sink a little bit. Somebody wakes up in the morning and he's like, Aisha, that was good last night. She's like, what was good? Dinner? No, he said, no, you know what I'm talking about. Like, we had a good moment. She was like, you didn't even touch me. And you just slept. I heard you snoring. And he was like, I thought we did. She said, no, you didn't. You just slept. But I was doing. And she's like, oh my goodness, go see a doctor. And then he is really hallucinating, because for this to happen, the hadith says, uh, uh, the prophet continued for such and such period. It's a long period of time. They just couldn't put it there. They were so ashamed, embarrassed of it. So they hide it behind these words. They were like, such and such. Just say it. 3 days, 2 days, it's such and such. So he stayed for a long period doing the same thing. And Aisha was sure he was hallucinating. But the problem here, they have to find the solution. What's the solution? A Jew did it. That's why. I
Yeah.
found the problem. It's not me. He has always to blame it on somebody, and the best person to blame it on is a Jew. He bewitched him. So if you are the prophet of Allah and Allah is protecting you, so a Jew was able to influence your mental state and make you think you had sex, even with that solution, it's terrible. It means like other people can control you, can control your brain, your memory, your faculties. How can I trust you with my life if you tell me like I'm a messenger of Allah? Probably you were controlled the whole time. How can I trust you? And Muslims, they say, no, 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 he was healed after that. How do I know? How do I know he was healed? Because if he hallucinated about this thing, just sexual act, and he couldn't tell if he did it or not, and his wife was correcting him, do you think I should trust him in the hereafter? There are like rivers and there are virgins. You're just hallucinating about sex too.
So yeah, here's the idea that we're talking about. It says the prophet continued for such and such period, imagining that he had slept, had sexual relations with his wives, and in fact he did not. And then he describes it that that a person, Lubayd bin Assam,
Yeah.
had worked magic on him, and did it through a stone, which he no, did it, the skin of the pollen of a male date tree with a comb and the hair stuck to it, kept under a stone in the well of Darwan. Of course, it is magic
Yeah.
to an object. That's why he has trouble. That's why he
Exactly.
thinks every night, hey. Last night we had amazing sex, and she's like, "No, we did." Excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't want to. I don't want to bring you closer to the reality of this, but we were talking about Aisha as if she was an adult here, but she was not an adult. She was
No.
still a little child. And so he's saying, "Hey, we had amazing sex last night," and Aisha is like, "Really? I don't remember any of that. I don't think we did." And she's like, "Yeah, we did. I mean, obviously I know exactly what happened last night." And she's like, "No, it's not true. It didn't happen." And this kept going on and on and on and on. And he's like, "Oh, I see. It's because of magic, because of that guy. He
Yeah.
worked magic on me. That's why this is happening to me." And this
Imagine.
guy is supposed to be the prophet.
Yeah. He's supposed to save us, and he couldn't save himself from a Jew who wirelessly controlled his brain.
Wirelessly. It's isn't it so funny that they actually have hadiths on these things, so that there are so many hadiths which detail and report these things in the most authentic sources.
It means there was a bigger problem. Imagine with all the editing that it went through, still we got this, and you can see signs of editing like such and such. They are trying to remove stuff through history, and still we got this. So imagine how the problem was. Probably was bigger than this. He was not just hallucinating. How come it's only about sex? So the guy, when he bewitched him, he specified make him forget sex only. I mean, I mean, if the memory has a problem, like when I have a disk that has a problem. It cannot have data on it. It means the whole disk, the whole surface, or at least a big chunk of it, is not working. So if your memory, your short memory, cannot remember a thing, especially something vivid like sex. It's not like a sandwich, a burrito you ate last night and you just dismiss it because there are so many burritos. You had a good night of sex. That should stick to your mind. Like you, and you couldn't remember even that. And you are going to tell me you remember the surahs and the ayahs and like what Gabriel told you and all this stuff. That just doesn't hold together.
It's also it's funny because this is in Sahih al-Bukhari, and what we are always told about how Muhammad al-Bukhari, the one who compiled this, how he spent so many years traveling and talking to so many people, filtering all of those narrations, removing thousands of reports from people, and finally, thinning it all down and keeping the most authentic reports about Muhammad and putting them into his book. And they make up insane stories about what a great memory this guy had who put this stuff together. But we are supposed to believe by the Islamic standards that he, narrowed all of those narrations down and came up and only left the most authentic ones. And then you have this here, which says that Muhammad had problems like that.
If we go to the other narration, I posted it together just side by side. It's just in the same place. Look at the signs of editing. Once the prophet was bewitched, so that he began to imagine that he had done a thing, which in fact he had not done. Well, what was that thing? so it means like it went through some editing. They were so embarrassed. And they started just removing stuff randomly. They couldn't say exactly what was happening in his life.
This is funny. So the guy probably had access to modern technology. He planted a chip in Prophet Muhammad's brain, and then he hacked into it and started controlling him and making him think that he had sex when in fact he didn't. That's the only explanation I have here. That probably makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
More than a well that had like hair and turned around. So I mean, come
on. Next, we have a hadith by Aisha, which many people have heard of, and that I find very funny, which basically says, Aisha said, I felt jealous of the women who offered themselves to Allah's messenger. Okay. And said, then when Allah, the exalted and glorious, revealed this, you may defer any of them you wish, and take to yourself any you wish, and if you desire any you have set aside, no sin is chargeable to you. Aisha said, it seems to me that your Lord hastens to satisfy your desires.
Yeah. We noticed first she used your Lord. It's not her Lord. It's like you made one specifically for you. It's just it's. I feel sometimes Aisha wanted to say stuff, but she couldn't, so she just puts it on her way, like in the form she wants. She want to stay safe, but in the same time she want to say her opinion. And I think that this hadith is one of her best lines ever. It seems to me that your Lord, the Lord that you created, has since to satisfy your desire. This is how I see it. This is my opinion. She didn't say Astaghfirullah al-Azim or Allah Akbar. She knew what she was saying. You created this being in your head, and whenever you want something, specifically sex, you just make this Lord give you what you want, and that's it. That's the end of the story.
That's funny. I never actually paid that much attention to the fact, but the Arabic actually says it says your Lord, Rabbuka. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that this is funny. Now, when this is brought up, when this hadith is brought up to Muslim apologists today, they say something like, "No, she wasn't trying to, point out that Allah does whatever He wants. She was just trying to point out how amazing it is that Muhammad is so important, that Allah cares so much about all of his desires and all of his needs to make things easier." But I mean, really, maybe you could take it that way. Maybe you could.
No, the context doesn't say that. The context, I mean, first she said, I felt jealous.
Yeah.
So there is something going on. Like, why? I mean, this guy, like all the women he wants, it comes. This is first. Second, it's talking about sex, obviously.
Mhm.
So when you take the context, she meant it in a very witty way. She wanted to say that, yeah, whenever you want sex, Allah says, go ahead, have fun. And so Allah is leaving the whole earth, the whole universe. Persia is fighting, Romans are fighting, like all the starvation, and he's zooming on like his best beloved prophet, and he's like, focus guys on this guy. What do you want today? Oh, you want that woman? Yeah. Gabriel, go ahead, take the verse. Right now, give it to him. I mean, I can't leave him like the whole night like that. I mean, yeah, I know he has 11, and I know he has other women, but like, I want to give him more. I am the Lord. I mean, come on.
It's so. What's so funny about this to me is, if I stood there and said to Muslims, or if I just remarked, it looks like Allah, really hastened to fulfill Muhammad's desire. So, it looks like Allah really cared so much about Muhammad's desires. Muslims would take that as as very disrespectful and an insult. They would take that as me suggesting that Allah is just made up and He just does whatever Muhammad wants. But here we have it in Hadith, Aisha saying it, and they somehow have to just get around that.
And I put a question: was she right or wrong?
That's good. That's good. Just the question is good.
Yeah, I mean, was she right? If she was right, then okay. I mean, God, Muhammad created a God that serves his desires. Thank you. We got the point.
And that's a good idea. We should go to Muslims and say, "Hey, Aisha said, according to this hadith, it seems that your Lord hastens to satisfy your desire. Do you think she was right or she was wrong?" We should ask Muslims that questions.
Ask a friend.
We should go to mosques and ask them this question.
Yeah.
Next, I didn't put these in any specific order, but next you have the one about Muhammad becoming so sad after his revelations, after his dear friend Waraka died, that he became so depressed he wanted to kill himself, according to some of these narrations.
Yeah.
Specifically, so what happens here is Muhammad has these revelations. He starts being a prophet. He goes to that cave, and in that cave, Jibril comes and he chokes him and it's like, read, and starts giving him revelations. Then supposedly, according to the Islamic sources, he goes to his wife Khadija. Khadija then calls her cousin Waraka, who comes there, and Waraka is a convert to Christianity, so to some sort of Christianity allegedly, and according to the Islamic sources, he says, "Oh, Muhammad, you are indeed Allah's messenger."
True.
And apparently, Muhammad is very much motivated by Waraka affirming his prophethood, and he keeps getting revelations as long as Waraka is around. Interestingly, and then Waraka dies, and the revelations suddenly stop. Right?
Yeah. And I don't know why. When somebody dies, like, what is the connection? Waraka dies, and this is what the hadith says. لما توفي ورقة فترى الوحي. So when Waraka died, the inspiration stopped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, inspiration was paused.
Paused. So, okay. I want to know, as a person who studies these texts, what is the connection between inspiration and the death of a person. The only explanation I can think of, that the source of inspiration died, or at least the first source of inspiration died. Why you become so sad to the point that you want to kill yourself? What was did you love that man that much? I have never seen Muhammad trying to kill himself or anybody, even Khadija when she died.
Hmm.
So suddenly, like her cousin, when he dies, you're so sad. Well, they say because the inspiration stopped. Well, I mean, yeah, the inspiration stopped. You would not be so sad. I mean, you will be like, okay, it's what I had was enough. If you had two surahs, if you had three, I mean, why would you be so sad to kill yourself? If God revealed something to you and you showed it, that's more than enough.
Plus, according to the source, it's not even just one time. It's not just once that he becomes so sad he wants to kill himself. It
Yeah,
is. It says here, as you can see. So, after a few days, Waraka died, and the divine inspiration was also paused for a while. And the prophet became so sad, as we have heard, that he intended several times to throw himself from the tops of high mountains. And
yeah.
every time he went up to the top of a mountain in order to throw himself down, Gabriel would appear before him and say, "Oh, Muhammad, you are indeed Allah's messenger in truth," whereupon his heart would become quiet and he would calm down and would return home. But, and,
It's many problems
yeah,
in these. First of all, Muhammad had doubts even when he was messenger,
yeah, yeah.
even when he was given the Quran, even when he was praying and talking, he still had doubts, and everything. He was going to kill himself. What if he killed himself in one of those attempts?
Then we would be. I don't want to say it, but you can think the rest.
Yeah. So okay, he was trying to kill himself, and the angel has to come and calm him down and remind him, you are a true prophet. Don't doubt yourself. Okay, we are with you. I mean, if he has seen the angel, and if he heard the Quran from the angel, and if everything confirmed that God, you are the chosen one, why you still doubt till this point? It doesn't make sense. And why you want to kill yourself?
You know what makes it all worse? That the Quran, which is Allah's revelation to him, so often, repeatedly tells Muhammad, "You are not mad. You are not insane." Which is very interesting, right? So the
Yeah,
Quran is supposedly the revelation from Allah, which Allah sends through Jibril, through the direct line to Muhammad. Muhammad receives the revelation through that line, and in that revelation, because people around him keep calling him crazy, or because he
true.
thinks he might be crazy, as you can see, Allah says, "You are not crazy." They say you are crazy, you're not. So it says here, 7184. Uh, their companion is not mad. There is no madness in him. Another one
Yeah,
says, or do they say in him is madness? Is he insane? No,
yeah,
he brought the truth. Another one says, they say there is madness in him. Another one
yeah,
again says, there is not in your companion any madness.
yeah,
Repeatedly, the Quran says that he's a magician or a madman. Uh, you are not a soothsayer or a madman. You are not, by the favor of your Lord, a madman,
yeah.
uh, and so on. Indeed, he is mad, say those around him. So, according to the Quran, people around him repeatedly accused him of being mad, of
True.
being insane, of being mentally, they wouldn't understand mental illness back then, but they would say that he's crazy, he's insane.
Well,
But
just imagine. We just talked about it. If somebody wakes up in the morning and he thinks he had sex and he didn't, what are you going to say about him back in the days?
yeah, true, true.
I mean, he is mad, and if you are to the point like you can imagine, hallucinate, see stuff that doesn't exist, and think I mean, let me go back to that hadith about sex. I mean, you smelled it, you touched it, you had all your senses all together, but it wasn't real. What are you going to tell about this guy? He just like was in a whole experience. He was using all his senses in it, but it turned out it's not real. Yeah, Majnun, mad.
Majnun, mad, possessed. So, and I think what is very important about this is Muslims very often, when they talk about Muhammad, when they want to prove that Muhammad was a very reliable person with an excellent character, they try to tell us that Muhammad had a fantastic reputation. That people said nothing but good things about him. They all said, he's so reliable, so honest. He's a fantastic
Yeah,
person.
Al
And
Amin,
yeah, and yet
Sadiq Al Amin.
When we open the Quran, supposedly the direct word of Allah, we see repeatedly, over and over again, that they say he is crazy. And Allah keeps reassuring him that he's not crazy, that he's not insane. So, by
Yeah.
the same standard that Muslims use, should we say, you know what, there was probably something wrong with Muhammad because lots of people kept saying that he has a problem, that he's crazy? Should we
Yeah,
say,
if you see back in the days somebody who's going to a mountain trying to kill himself several times, and he is reporting stuff that never happened, and what are you going to say? I mean, it was according to what I see, their accusation is logic. There's nothing wrong with it.
well, what are you going to say? So yeah, that's him trying to kill himself, the holy prophet of Allah. Um, okay, there's a different one. How about this? What do you want to say about this? In the 10 years that Muhammad spent in Medina, he waged 83 wars. That's like a war every 43 days. He was a warmonger. And we have a hadith of him saying, I have been commanded by Allah to fight people until they testify that there is no true God except Allah and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and perform salat and pray and pay zakat. If they do so, they will have protection of their blood and property from me, except when justified by Islam. And then account is left to Allah. So this hadith clearly shows that Muhammad reiterated to his followers that he was sent by Allah to fight the disbelievers, fight the non Muslims until they convert to Islam and practice Islam. If they do
Yeah.
not do this, then they are targets of his war campaign.
You know the line that Muslims use all the time, all the wars that Muhammad did were they were self-defense. That's what we heard several times.
Yeah.
This hadith throws their argument under the bus. Like you will not come out of this hadith thinking he was defending himself. Actually, you will not find any hadith where Muhammad say, I was ordered to fight to defend myself. Doesn't exist. Da'if or sahih, weak or authentic, none. So all their arguments is based on no hadith, zero. And when you go to the hadith, he said, I have been commanded by Allah to fight people who are attacking me? No. To fight people who are trying to harm me? No. Until they testify that there is no God except Allah. This hadith just shows that Muhammad was waging war against people who were peaceful, just living and practicing other religions that he didn't accept. And he waged war against them so he can make his religion as the only one in the Arabian Peninsula. And of course, his companions expanded that to other countries and other places. So again, Muslims did just lie to us. 83 wars, when you go through them, some of them are attacking caravans, and Muslims try to justify, oh, because they took his money from Mecca, so he has the right to attack a caravan for the whole tribe. Well, Morocco persecuted me through their police. So should I go and take one of their planes, hijack it, and make a point here? Like I left my apartment and my car when I left Morocco. So should I rob a Moroccan bank in Paris and try to make a point? I mean, it just it doesn't make sense. But plus, who told you the money in that caravan belongs to the guy who persecuted him, for example, in Quraysh? And you're going to take everybody's money just because some people persecuted you there. Plus, you told us he was poor when Khadijah died and everybody around him, and it was nobody to give him money. You told us he was poor. And all the 100 people that believed in him, they had nothing. They were not rich people. They were just poor people. So how come you want to take a whole caravan because you think they took his money, his properties when he was in Mecca? Doesn't make sense. And also when when you see the other raids, take each one by one, you will find none of them except one, the trench. And even the trench, you have an explanation about it. Because he raided them, he did all that, so they were attacking him because he started it.
That's
But
that's the thing that I point out quite often, which is Muslims often make it look like the Muslims were persecuted and they were living on, and the wars were in self defense, the big battles were in self defense. It was because the polytheists wouldn't let them live on their own. That's not true. I mean, if you look at the sources themselves, after Muhammad goes to Medina, okay, if you just rely on the sources, you might say they were treated badly and persecuted in Mecca. But after Muhammad went to Medina, after the Muslims relocated to Medina, it was Muhammad and the Muslims themselves who repeatedly and repeatedly, over and over, provoked the Meccan polytheists until they got provoked into saying, okay, we have to put an end to this. Let's go and attack the Muslims in Medina. Let us let's bring this to a battlefield. So the first all-out battle that happens between Muslims and the Meccan polytheists only happens because the Meccan polytheists feel threatened and harassed and say, we have to put an end to this. We can't do this any longer.
and
And that is
also
not self-defense.
I want to comment about the Meccan period. If you really look at it, they were not really persecuting him because he is bringing a new religion.
Yeah.
Mecca didn't have a problem with new religions. You can say you are a prophet. You can say I have a new God, a new religion. They will welcome you. And how I can prove that? Well, you say Waraka, he was a Christian convert there, and nobody did anything to him. He was living peacefully there. Why nobody attacked Waraka? And we have another guy. His name is Zayd ibn Amr, and nobody attacked him. He was just there, and he was a monotheist, and nobody attacked him. And we had several ones. We have Jews living there, and nobody was attacked. We have Christians, of course, and we have many people. They come from different tribes, and they had idols in Mecca. Everybody had an idol there, so they didn't have a problem. The problem was he wanted to make his religion is the only religion in Mecca. They were like, no, you can't do that to us because that's how we live. We accept everybody. We're an inclusive society. And he will, no, 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 only Allah and only me, the messenger of Allah. And that's when the clash started with him. And by the standards of dawah guys, if they say every religion should kill the apostate, well, why you are mad if Quraysh really persecuted Muhammad? Why you want to take revenge and go back? I mean, if you say every religion, every worldview should cut the one that leave their worldview and should kill him and shun him, and that's the norm, then Quraysh persecuting Muhammad is justified, is the right thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. So important to note, Muhammad wasn't just persecuted by the polytheists because he had a new religion, and he was spreading his new religion peacefully and didn't mean any harm at all. Now, according to their own sources, Muhammad was openly and directly hostile toward the
Yeah,
polytheists and their
he's a
religion. He said that their religion is wrong and false and it needs to be gotten rid of. He said that he has been sent to fight, to destroy. He said on one occasion, while they were
I
just
came
walking
with
past him,
slaughter.
"Yeah, I came with slaughter." He said to them into their faces,
Yeah,
uh, and that was actually the most the time that the polytheists turned, really hostile toward him because of what he said. Because he
yeah,
said, "I came with slaughter. I brought slaughter to you."
yeah.
So,
Imagine I go to Morocco, not that just I convert. I convert. There will be like, imagine Morocco was fine. I converted to Christianity, but I go in the middle of Casablanca and I say, "Hey, Moroccans, I came with slaughter to you."
I mean, they say we have just seen it recently. They say that you should be killed. We have seen it on the podcast episode. They say you should
Yeah,
be killed just for leaving the religion, right? So
yeah.
they are not okay with leaving the religion. So guess how they would react if we said, "Hey, Muslims, we came with slaughter. Now you all be careful."
Yeah. I mean, they never think how the others should react in this case. They always like to play the victim card.
Yeah, yeah. Here is an important point when it comes to Muhammad's mental health and how the revelations came and whether he was insane or not. I want to bring up three hadiths which are quite similar to each other. But it says here, um, Al Harith bin Hisham asked the Prophet, "How does the divine inspiration come to you?" The Prophet replied, "In all of these ways. The angel sometimes comes to me with a voice which resembles the sound of a ringing bell. And when this state abandons me, I remember what the angel has said. And this type of divine inspiration is the hardest on me. And
Mm,
sometimes the angel comes to me in the shape of a man and talks to me, and I understand and remember what he says." In these states, when Muhammad is inspired, he's in kind of a state of trance, and you can see more about that here in a second. In another report, it says, Aisha added, "Verily, I saw the Prophet being inspired divinely on a very cold day and noticed the sweat dropping from his forehead when the inspiration was over." And once again, another one, it says, Allah's messenger used to bear the revelation with great trouble and used to
yeah.
move his lips quickly with the inspiration. Ibn Abbas moved his lips, saying, "I am moving my lips in front of you as Allah's messenger used to move his lips." And then Allah reveals a verse saying, "Move not your tongue concerning the Quran to make haste therewith. It is for us to collect it and to give it to you." So, um,
Uh,
the, the point I'm making here with these and with also some other hadiths which say that he would become very heavy and irresponsive and would be like quiet and have big trouble when the revelation comes to him um, is this really how Allah sends His revelation to His beloved Prophet? That He gives him trouble, that He makes him sweat, that He makes him afraid, terrified, that He hears the ringing of a bell. Which, by the way, all of these things sound very much like some neurological disorders or psychological disorders that we can nowadays identify. But back then, people didn't know any of these things, so they thought this is divine inspiration. But
yeah. And the problem is, it seems like a torture, not something fun. It's something that he suffered from, and I did two episodes in Arabic, and I think we need to do one probably in English about Muhammad being diagnosed by TLE, temporal lobe epilepsy, and all the signs we read there are the signs of a temporal lobe epilepsy. There is no, I asked doctors, I'm not a doctor myself, but I asked neurologists and I asked people who work in this field, and I have seen many patients like that. all the symptoms that were described as revelation symptoms, they are symptoms of TLE. And also the sexual state of Muhammad. Hypersexuality is one of the symbols of TLE. Also, suicidal thoughts are part of TLE. They are related to it. OCD, for example. OCD, you see Muhammad like obsessed with the number three. For example, we read one of the hadiths, he said, that's in Sahih Bukhari. Anas said that when the Prophet made a statement, he repeated it three times. So
Yeah.
every sentence he used to say it three times. And if he gave them a salutation, he did it three times. So if he says salamu alaikum, he says salamu alaikum, salamu alaikum, salamu alaikum. It's like every time he says things three times. That's OCD, clear. And you can see it through many things that in his personality, it's just symptoms of TLE. Back in the days, they couldn't diagnose him. Actually, epilepsy was called the divine disease. Is a person either called Majnun or called a prophet. And also, people who get TLE, they have tendency to be more religious, talking about God and thinking they are very important, and then God sent them. There are cases where people said they are prophets or messengers of God, and He sent them with a message. So it's not really unique or something unusual, and hallucinations are part of it. So Muhammad was hallucinating about sex, hallucinating. One time he said a demon came to cut his prayer, and actually it's in Al-Bukhari too,
Oh,
and he
yeah.
was trying to tie him to one of the pillars in the mosque and make the kids play with him. And one time he was praying and he just did like this, and he was trying to hold something, and the companions asked him, "What was that?" And he said, "A whole branch of grapes was given to me, and I was trying to grab it. If I grabbed it, it will be enough for the whole entire world." And
Of
it just
course.
nonsense. Why you didn't grab it? I mean, at least at least taste one grape. And it was during the prayer. So why God will show you a branch of grapes while you are praying to Him? Did He want to distract you or something, or tease you, and you never being able to taste it? What was the point? What was the point? I mean, it's just insane. When you go through all these hadiths, you'll find insanity.
I'm trying to find that hadith. I know it very well,
Which
but
one?
for some reason I can't. The one about him seeing a devil while he's praying and
Yeah, I
try.
can. Yeah, I will find it for you.
Okay, okay, okay. I want to bring up this hadith here also very quickly, just to highlight how Muhammad received his revelations and how he probably had an issue. This is in Sahih Bukhari. It says, a
Yeah,
man came to the Prophet while he was at Jirana. The man was wearing a cloak which had traces of khaluk and or sufra, a kind of perfume. The man asked the Prophet, what do you order me to perform in my umrah? So Allah inspired the Prophet divinely, and he was screened by a piece of cloth. I wished to see the Prophet being divinely inspired. Omar said to me, come, will you be pleased to look at the Prophet while Allah is inspiring him? I
yeah,
replied in the affirmative. Omar lifted one corner of the cloth, and I looked at the Prophet, who was snoring. And one of the interpretations is that he was snoring like a camel.
camel. Yeah,
When that state was over, the Prophet asked, where is the questioner who asked about Umrah? And then he answers the question. So he is being inspired, and it is quite regular. Omar here is covering him up with a cloak while he's being inspired, while he's getting a divine revelation. And the inspiration is him being irresponsive and laying there and making loud snoring noises, which
yeah,
sounds very much like a form of epilepsy, which sounds like a seizure, which sounds like, uh, or something otherwise neurologically wrong. But and the question that I then ask when I read these things was Allah is Allah trying to mess with us? Why is he why is he sending his revelations, his inspirations in such a way that it clearly looks like you know, psychological or neurological problems which we can nowadays diagnose?
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you want to look for that hadith, just type "spoil my prayer." You will find it. "Spoil my prayer"
Oh yeah.
as in the keywords, and you will find the little genie that came to him and tried to mess up with him.
Oh yeah, got it.
And the problem, like they read all the Quran and they say the Quran makes the devil run away, but like they were reading, he was messing with the Prophet himself, not just. Yeah, read it. That's the one.
Yeah, it says the prophet said, "A strong demon from the jinns came to me yesterday suddenly to spoil my prayer, but Allah enabled me to overpower him, and so I caught him and intended to tie him to one of the pillars of the mosque so that all of you might see him. But I remembered the invocation of my brother
Oh,
Solomon and grant me
oh,
a kingdom such as shall not belong to any other after me. So I let
yeah,
him go cursed." Yeah.
yeah.
Unfortunately, he could have
Y-
tied him and could have shown him to everybody, but of course, he didn't do it because
Yeah, he remembered what Solomon said. He didn't want to like. I mean, come on. He was hoping to have something that nobody attends after him, and I don't want to take that from him. Okay.
yeah, that's it's so funny that he has to come up with an excuse to why he didn't do this very
Every
insane
time,
thing, which would have shocked everybody. You know, He's like,
every time.
this is like, I mean, you know, people like these, like you know, people like this who will exaggerate and tell you a story that is clearly like very made up, and then they will make an excuse to somehow say, you know, I would show you, but you know, then something happened, and I just, you know, it just got lost. So here is Muhammad saying, you know, you could have seen that devil, you could have seen him. I was going to tie him so that everyone could see him, but then I remembered something, so I didn't do it.
Yeah, the other one I told about. You can search it. I'm trying to see what's the best um, uh, world remains or like I don't know which one. I have it. One solar eclipse. One solar eclipse probably because it happened during that time. One solar eclipse.
Oh yeah.
It's about like when he tried to get grapes,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
the branch of fruit. It just shows he was hallucinating all the time, even through prayer.
Yeah.
He tried to get grapes, and my question: why would Allah show you grapes while you are praying?
He was hungry. Maybe he was. He was hungry. Why do you think?
It's were you able to find it?
I'm looking for it at the moment. I might find it later. I
Yeah,
think
I can send it to
we can
you.
just
If,
we can
yeah,
just continue, and I
yeah.
can get back to that later. But
Okay,
oh,
I sent it to you through the same mean as a link.
oh, okay, okay, yeah. I'll look that up now. I'll look it up
Yeah.
right now. Right here. Once a solar eclipse occurred during the lifetime of Allah's messenger, and he offered the eclipse prayer. His companions asked, "Oh Allah's messenger, we saw you trying to take something while standing at your place, and then we saw you retreating." The
Yeah,
prophet
he was doing like
said,
this.
"It was like, I." The prophet said, "I was shown paradise and wanted to have a bunch of fruit from it. Had I taken it, you would have eaten from it as long as the world remains." But of course, he didn't take it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you take it? Why would you not take it?
I, aren't you supposed to be focused in your prayer? And prayer is not accepted if we don't focus. And why would Allah mess up a prayer like that if it's that important? Well, he will show you. He couldn't have another time when you're, for example, staying with your companions and talking, and a lady passes by, so he will show you a branch instead of instead of that. He couldn't have another time. It was like so urgent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man. I wish I had the answer to it. Actually, I'm hearing the ringing of a bell right now. Maybe I'm getting
Yeah,
an answer.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um, this one is very interesting. I wanted to make a video about this a long time ago. I still didn't do it, but the story is about Gog and Magog, which are two tribes that are mentioned forever before Islam, and Muhammad in his time adopts Gog and Magog as these scary people who are hiding behind a wall and who will one day come out and invade the whole earth. They will attack everything and everyone, and they will drink a whole lake dry. And they will, even in the end, after they are done with all of the humans, they will shoot toward the sky, and blood will come down from the
yeah,
sky because they will hit the people from the heavens with their arrows and their spears.
yeah.
But according to the hadiths, Muhammad kept warning
They
against
will
them.
hit one of the prophets because each level has a prophet there.
Oh
So
yeah. I wonder which prophet it will be. But
so Adam will be ouch, ouch, that hurts.
narrated by Zainab bin Jash, it says the Prophet came to her in a state of fear, saying, "None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. Woe to the Arabs because of an evil that has come very near. Today a hole has been made in the wall of Gog and Magog as large as this," pointing with his two
Yeah,
fingers, making a circle. Zainab
yeah.
said, "I said
He
all us."
made like this. It's like
Yeah,
a
okay,
hole, like
yeah.
this.
I said, Allah's apostles, shall we be destroyed, though amongst us there are pious people? He said, yes, if evil increases. So in Muhammad's time, Muhammad himself, he comes here to his wife in panic, says, may Allah protect us from the evil that is about to come to the Arabs. And he says, today, in the wall of Gog and Magog, there has been a hole made like this. So they are
Yeah.
about to come, they are about to descend, about to invade. And I'm just wondering here, where is that wall? Where is Gog and Magog? Why did they still not come? Why was Muhammad panicking?
Yeah. So my question again. So if somebody wakes up in the morning and he thinks he slept with his wife and he didn't, why would I believe him if he tells me there are some people hiding and behind a wall or a dam, and today they opened a hole? I'll be like, which hole? You have so many holes you are dreaming of.
Yeah. Uh,
I
Smidley
mean,
said, Yasser Qadi said it's zombies. Yeah, that was one of the interpretations. Didn't Yasser Qadi say that it could be zombies or something like that?
it's clear. It was proven that he got some myths. They were written before him, and about Alexander the Great putting behind the dam some people there, and in the end times they will come out. And Muslims, they still believe. I actually, when I did my show in Arabic, I challenged. I said, wherever is a Muslim willing to call and tell me which country, because now the world is divided into countries. So tell me which country has Gog and Magog? Like, is it in Afghanistan? In Pakistan? We can go now with satellite images. We can see. Can you tell me, point to a place where Gog and Magog actually created a problem? There is a famous guy in Egypt. His name is Mustafa Mahmoud. He used to make a show for Egyptians about science and fate. He couldn't solve this. He said they are inside the earth. They are inside in the inner circle, the inner part. Like,
Oh, of course. How convenient. Yeah.
yeah. So they are there hiding because he couldn't. I mean, if he said they are anywhere, it will be a problem. They are not.
So Muhammad was here, allegedly, according to the sources. He was here when he was telling this whole story, and he was warning the Arabs that this big evil, Gog and Magog, they will soon come and they will invade. They're behind a wall and they're digging and digging and digging. And according to one hadith, they're digging and they say, okay, let's finish tomorrow. Let's come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Uh, and then they come back tomorrow and the wall is just is is is
But
is repaired basically
but
because they
if
forgot to say
during the time
inshallah.
of Muhammad it was this big, 1400 years, they couldn't make just one leg out.
But look,
Like
it says they it says wait a minute, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Here, Gog and Magog people dig every day until when they can almost see the rays of the sun, the one in charge of them says, go back and we will dig tomorrow. Then Allah puts it back stronger than it was before. This will continue until when their time has come and Allah wants to send them against the people. They will dig until they can almost see the rays of the sun. Then the one who is in charge of them will say, go back and we will dig it tomorrow if Allah wills. So they will say, if Allah wills. And
that's the
next
magic
time,
word.
and that's when they come back and the wall is pretty much dug open and they will dig a little bit more and then they will go through the wall, bomb, and they will invade the earth. Because all of these, like 1,400 years have passed since Muhammad passed, and since then, these idiots, Gog and Magog, they keep digging. They, they keep digging and forgetting to say inshallah, which is why they can't get through that wall. So, but once they remember to say inshallah, they also
Yeah.
can't read these hadiths. Apparently, they don't have
No.
any internet access.
Yeah.
They forget to say inshallah, but once they remember to say inshallah, then suddenly they will get through it and they will invade from everywhere. So,
The
uh,
the problem when you read about them, there are like billions of them because
yeah,
they are more than human beings. And when you read, okay, all these guys are behind a wall. How are they surviving?
I know where they are. Look here, China.
How they are
China.
eating every day? What resources they have?
They're in China. China is Gog and Magog. Obviously, there's a wall. There is a wall, and they are hiding behind that wall, and they're trying to dig through that to the Chinese to the Great Wall and trying to get out of it, but they forget to say Inshallah. That's why they keep not getting through it. This is what the world doesn't know, but the truth
Yeah.
is that nobody knows is that China is Gog and Magog, and they're trying to dig through that wall and they're trying to hide it,
Well,
which is
how
why they
about
have so much
planes?
censorship.
Don't we have planes going back and forth from China?
Don't forget about that now. This is not important.
I mean, how can you defend? How can you believe there are such people living today, and they are not just one or two? We can lose him in one of the forests in the world. There are billions of them, millions and billions, and they are digging somewhere. Why we can't find them?
Yeah. Well, Allah knows best.
Exactly.
That's what Allah knows best, and we can't find him because, as Farid would say,
it is a metaphysical matter.
Yeah, that's what Farid would say.
But these are not actually. They are actual bones and they are actual beings.
Yeah, but when I asked Farid, where does the sun go at night? Because Muhammad says the sun goes every night. It goes and travels to under the throne
Under
of
the
Allah, where
throne
it
of Allah.
prostrates, and it
Yeah.
asks for permission to rise again. When I asked Farid, so where does the sun go? How exactly does it go? When does it go? He said, we don't know how exactly it goes because
it is a metaphysical matter.
That's what he said. So,
wow,
that's a valid answer.
I thought the sun is a physical thing, not a metaphysical thing.
Yeah, but you don't understand how a physical thing can travel because
it is a metaphysical matter.
And
when he was sitting with Abu Dhar in the Arabian Peninsula and pointing to the sun going, actually it was just just still daytime in Morocco. So the throne of Allah probably was above Algeria or Morocco or somewhere there.
You're asking too many questions. You're making too many. You're thinking too much
Yeah,
about this. You're thinking way too much about this, and it's just not appropriate. Here we have that instance. It says, narrated by Abu Dhar, I entered the mosque while Allah's messenger was sitting there. When the sun had set, the Prophet said, "Oh, Abu Dhar, do you know where this goes?" The sun. I said,
yeah,
Allah and His Apostle know best. He said, it goes and it asks permission to prostrate, and it is allowed. And one day, as if being ordered to return whence it came. Wait, this is not right. Then it will
yeah.
rise from the west. Then the Prophet recited that, and the sun runs towards
Fixed
a
course.
fixed course. What I hate about the hadith is some of them talk about the very same thing, but in very stupid ways.
Yeah,
But basically, the idea is that the sun, Muhammad clearly says, the sun travels and goes to a resting place to prostrate under the throne of Allah, prostrate, and it asks for permission to rise again. And Allah says, "Yeah, go ahead, rise." And one day one day Allah will say, "Go back where you came from. Do not
yeah.
rise." And then the sun will go back where it came from and will rise from the west, and that will be the sign of the end of the world.
I mean, is there any moment where the sun is stopped and asking a question, or just like, I mean, we don't rise now, and I mean, it's waiting for an order. Do we have any moment like that?
Of course, all the time, every
and
night,
and
every evening.
and look at the hadith. Muhammad, I feel he used to sit with his idiot companions, and he just boast about his knowledge because nobody asked him actually. And Abu Dharr, he used just to be a bandit. He's one of the guys who goes to caravans. Actually, it's real. The whole tribe of Abu Dharr used to do that, and that's why Muhammad recruited them. They were good at being pirates.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Abu Dharr, actually he was an ignorant guy who just lives by attacking caravans. And he's just sitting there. Hey, Abu Dharr, do you know where the sun goes? And Abu Dharr, of course, like, Allah wa Rasulu a'lam. Only Allah and His messengers know. His messenger know. And Muhammad is so pleased. Yeah, I like to hear that. Can you say it one more time? I am your Google. I am your Alexa.
Hey, did you see my cartoon that I made about that I made with Saitan about this? I love this hadith so much that I started this cartoon series called The Prophet Tales. It's
Oh,
okay
I
if
didn't see that.
you
I
haven't
need to
seen
look at
this.
it.
I made the
No.
first episode, but then didn't continue. But I will continue still. It is still in the
Yeah.
works.
Who's that?
In fact, this is Abu Dhar.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you made him very nice.
yeah, look at this. Look at this. You haven't seen this before? Shame on you.
No.
Prophet said, "It's so beautiful, right? It is, O Messenger of Allah. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Do you know where the sun goes? Allah and His Apostle, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, know best. That's right. So let me tell you. Well, when the daylight of the morning comes, the sun rises from its rising place, as it always does, because that's where Allah makes it rise. It runs for a certain time through the sky and travels until it reaches its setting place under the throne of Allah, where it then rests and spends the night prostrating to Allah as it should, because the sun is a devout and obedient Muslim." Really? Yes, yes. Wait. How does the sun prostrate? What? Well, the sun is a big glowing ball of light, so I don't understand how it can lie down. Doesn't it just sort of roll around? Or does it have the ability to spread itself out like a
You made
carpet? Well, you see,
The answer is very simple, of course. It is a metaphysical matter.
Who is this?
Shall I cut off his head, Ya Rasulullah?
Maybe later. Anyway, where was I? You said the sun prostrates like a good Muslim. Oh, yeah, it does. The sun is in prostration to Allah like a good Muslim, and then it asks Allah for permission to rise again, and Allah gives it permission, and then it rises from its rising place. So it travels again for a specified term to its resting place.
Yes.
Into a mud spring, right? O Messenger of Allah. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. No. Yeah, just listen, please. The sun travels its resting place and prostrates itself and asks for permission, and it is given permission, and then it rises again, and so on, until one day the sun will once again ask for permission to rise, but Allah will not give it permission. Allah will tell the sun to go back where it came from and to rise from its setting place. And on that day, the sun will rise from its setting place in the west when nobody expects it. And on that day, no repentance will be valid and no person's belief will be accepted if he has not believed before. That is crazy. That is insane. Wow.
You made Abu Dhar so smart.
I know. I'm giving him too much credit. He's much smarter.
Yeah,
than me,
he asks
actually.
questions. Abu Dhar didn't care. He probably, when Muhammad was pointing to the sun, he was like, "What caravan we're going to attack tomorrow?"
That is valid criticism. Abu Dhar is much smarter than he probably actually was. So he's asking some good questions.
Yeah. It's like, do you know where the sun goes? Yeah, to caravans.
Caravans, we'll get a lot of booty there, and we will take slaves and have sexy women there, and we will take them as slaves and maybe have sex with them. I don't know. Just tell me more about dear Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But no, he has to ask. But how exactly does the sun set? But do you think, aside from that factual mistake, does this cartoon accurately represent,
It's
in your
funny.
opinion, what happened back then?
Yeah. I mean, the Muhammad was just, I mean, there are so many occasions he just says some silly stuff, dumb stuff, and people are like, wow.
Wow.
It's like one time he was sitting and he heard boom, and he said, "Do you know what was that?" And of course, the funny answer that's repeated everywhere: only Allah wa Rasulu a'lam. Okay, if we believe in God, God knows everything. Well, how about his prophet who never studied anything, and you say he's illiterate? How does he know with God? How does he share that knowledge with God? I mean, Allah wa Rasul a'lam. That's one thing. And another thing, he told them, well, you know that rock was 70 years coming on the way, and now it reached the bottom of hell.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, wow, that's really wisdom.
He also, I mean, we have there is the funny thing, we in the Quran, and we often point this out. The Quran says that stars are adornments, and they are little missiles that are thrown at rebellious devils. And we
Yes.
actually have a hadith in which Muhammad lengthily explains this to the people around him. They are sitting there, his companions, and he says, "Do you guys know what this is?" And he points at shooting stars, and they give different answers. And he's like, "No, you all got it wrong. You got it all wrong." So what is happening up there is, we have these soothsayers, and the jinns come and they go up to the sky, to the heavens, when Allah is having a conversation with the angels. They go up and listen to the secret conversations between Allah and the angels, and they try to snatch secret knowledge to bring it down to the soothsayers, which is why the soothsayers occasionally get some things right but other things wrong, because they get the right knowledge from the jinns. But the angels up there, whenever they see a jinn trying to approach, they take one of those stars and they throw it at the jinns, and that's what you are seeing up there when you see shooting stars.
What a stupid security system. I mean, just call ADT.
Seriously.
Or put a Ring camera.
Allah didn't have
I mean,
access to Ring.
I mean, when you hear those stories, like also when he's going with Jibreel to the first heaven, who's there? Jibreel. Who's with you? Guys, just buy a camera, you stupid guys, and make one of you look at the screen. Why you are so...
That's because Allah is against technology. He doesn't allow those devices to be at his house. That's why.
And they have the door locked. Why? Are you afraid that Rashid one day is flying by? He might enter by mistake or something. Why you would close a door in a place where only you guys live?
Yeah, Allah is like, hey, angels, lock the doors. Make sure you lock the doors before you go to sleep tonight. We don't know who is going to, who will try to come in and break in. We don't want anybody to steal something. Lock the doors. So does that make sense? I guess.
And when you read about the heavens, it's like just... it's again, how can I believe this guy who can't just remember the basic stuff? He's telling me what's in heaven and how they are guarding those places and who's there. I mean, just let's start with the basics.
Yeah. Yeah, we've gone through quite a bit here. One more thing here. If a man invites his wife to sleep with him and she refuses to come to him, then the angels send their curses on her till morning. This is, again, another instance of Muhammad just really using the religion to control the women.
Yeah.
And this is still... we have still the impacts of this on Muslim society, where women are basically seen as servants who are supposed to just answer your call to have sex with them. If they don't, then the angels will curse them and things like these. So this is what Muhammad was.
In our countries, they refer to it to say she didn't give him his right.
Oh, yeah.
Like she has to give him his right is sex whenever he wants to. However, the excuses will not work unless she's really sick. I mean, that's probably the only option. But the other than that, she cannot say she's tired. She doesn't have an appetite for it. Another day or anything. Otherwise, the angels will be like really so mad because again, I think in heaven they are so bored. They have nothing to do. So they just have a screen, and it's I mean, they're watching what again, they're zooming on the Arabian Peninsula. They're watching if Omar, his wife, said yes or no. If she says yes, then all the clouds they say, "Hey, we will have a good night tonight. Like, they'll bring popcorn. We're going to watch a good football." And then if nothing happens, they'll be like, "Hey, the curse starts. Let's curse tonight." Like Omar's wife, like, and it's insanity. It's insanity. Imagine, I just want to imagine how many women say no in the Muslim world, in Morocco, Algeria, Saudi Arabia. Imagine all these angels the whole night there. Curse be upon Fatima, curse be upon Fuzia, curse be upon Aisha, curse be upon... It has nothing to do the whole night.
The angels, they have a thing. They have a system which they have already established by now. They always keep a list. Like every day, they make a list. They write all of the names down of all the women who refused sex for different reasons, and then in the night they gather and they're like, "All right, let's start, guys. Who's first?" And then they go, "Okay, Aisha, Fatima, this and that. Curse you, curse you, curse you," throughout the whole night. Yeah, that's what they do.
But if she changes her mind in the middle, she says, "Okay, I will do it." After 2 o'clock in the morning, they will be like, "Oh, remove Fatima from the list."
And I bet, since they don't have proper systems in place, I bet they're doing all of this like with some very old pen and paper too. Like they don't even have a proper system to keep track of stuff.
They have nothing to do, just watching us what we do in our beds. I mean, come on, no privacy.
No, That's what's going. That is their daily TV. That is their reality TV. Their reality TV up there is that they watch us people on here, and they check if the wives have sex with the men when they want it or not. If they don't, then they're like, "All right, we are going to have a lot of fun tonight." So that's what they do, and they drink from
And
rivers of wine, from their big cups, from rivers of wine, which are described in the Quran. That's what they do. They get drunk.
and if the man says no, there is no hadith about him. It's just okay.
Man can say no. Man is man.
Yeah.
Men can say no. But if women say no, then the angels who are drunk with the wine in heaven, they will sit there and they will curse and curse and
And
curse.
my question, do they do that just for Muslim women, or they do it, for example, for other religions too? Let's say in China, a Chinese wife says to her Chinese husband, no. They don't care probably about those.
They don't care about Chinese people. No, they don't care about them. They are Gog and Magog. They are still trying to dig through the wall, forgetting to say Inshallah. That's their problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's their.
Well, at least we got out of that situation, so I'm not included in that. So
Alhamdulillah.
I think apostates are not included.
Yes, yes,
We're proud of that.
yes. um, I said it at the beginning, but this is extremely important for those who haven't noted it. Make a note of this. It says that if you, like Ibn Masud said, that a man was mentioned in the Prophet's presence, and he was told that he continued sleeping till morning, never having got up to pray. And the Prophet said, that is a man in whose ear the devil has urinated. So if you don't wake up at night, if you don't wake up in the morning for the prayer, know that the devil has peed into your ears. So be very careful. Always make sure to wake up for the prayer. This is how you can restore a proper society. And if you forget to stay up, then always remember to wash your ears in the mornings.
And imagine how many years. I mean, I told this, and Muslims didn't. Some Muslim commentators didn't get it. They were like, I said the morning prayer is one of the hardest prayers in Islam, and they were like, Brother Rashid, that's why he left Islam, because the morning prayer was hard. They forgot the point, the whole point. I was just making an introduction to tell them, okay, this is why not many people wake up in the morning, because especially during cold times, it's very hard. So the majority will not go to the mosque, especially during that time. So the majority will be sleeping. So Muhammad said the devil urinated in your ear if you don't do that. How many ears serve as a urinal for the devil in the Muslim world?
This is why this explains it. Like somebody just brought it up here. Who was that? Polar Country said, I use my headphones while sleeping. For a very long time, I would put headphones on or earplugs on when I would go to sleep, because that's the only way I could sleep. I would listen to music or listen to different stuff and sleep like that. And then whenever I would get up in the mornings, my earplugs or headphones would be kind of wet, and I always thought that it's because of sweating, because I sweat at night and they get wet from that. But no, this explains it. It's because the devils, they pee in my ears, and when I have the headphones, and they pee on the headphones. This is
And
why also they break easily.
I replied to one of the guys when he commented. He forgot the point and he commented on the wrong thing. I said, it seems the urine of the devil doesn't just mess up your ear, he messes up also your brain. And guess what? Every Muslim will have one day he will not wake up to that prayer.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you cannot avoid being a toilet for the devil.
Yeah. Yeah. So every ear is the devil's toilet. That's exactly what we get from Islam, alhamdulillah.
We're proud of that.
Okay, when the adhan is pronounced, Satan takes to his heels and passes wind. So we all know that in Islamic countries, alhamdulillah, we have the call to prayer. Whenever the call to prayer is announced, that's when Satan starts farting and running away. This is why Muslim countries are much more blessed and much more perfect countries, because Satan always feels uncomfortable and starts running and farting when the call to prayer is announced. And this is what non-Muslim countries are lacking. So I hope we can bring this practice of announcing the call to prayer to non-Muslim countries, so that the devil can not be very comfortable here, that he would start farting and running here as well. This is the wisdom of the Prophet Muhammad. Yeah,
And
yeah,
he says, so he will not hear. He distracts himself, so he will not hear. I
Yeah.
mean, how loud that fart should be to cover for the, you know, the adhan, how loud it is. I mean,
yes, yes.
I mean, come on. Even if he ate a lot of beans, it would not work.
Yeah, it has to be the really loud ones. This is the stuff that we're talking about when we talk about Islam, guys. How loud the farts of Satan are. Like this is important Islamic stuff.
Yeah, and I commented about farting, and Muslims started making fun of me. They say, like, look how Rachid left Islam because of farting. Again, like they missed the whole point. We didn't leave Islam because Satan farts, or the fart of Muslim. I mean, the farting is a whole story in Islam. There is a whole science called fartology. Like they just like, if you read Bukhari and Muslim, there are sections talking about what you do in case you fart.
Yeah.
And we learn as a Muslims. Okay, let's say you are in the middle of a prayer and you fart. What are you going to do? Well, you leave and you go and do the washing again and come back and finish your prayer. And here is the funny thing. When we go do the wudu, the washing, you start by your hands and then madmada, like you wash your mouth. And I'm always like asking these simple questions. Okay, the fart, we know where it comes from or gets out from. Why I'm washing my mouth? Or why I'm washing my hair or my ears. I mean, it will make sense if you wash the place where the fart is, or at least there is some logic. But like you are washing your face after a fart. And they tell me like, oh, Islam teaches hygiene. Where's the hygiene? When you fart, you have to wash your face. Just show me. And you have to repeat it every time you fart and you want to pray. You have to repeat the same thing. I mean, what kind of prayer is messed up with a fart?
Yeah.
What kind of a God? He doesn't like you when you fart. He created gases in you, but when you fart, don't come to stay where you are.
It says here very clearly, like Abu Hurairah said, the Prophet said, Allah does not accept the prayer of any one of you if he passes wind, if he farts, until he performs the ablution. Hadath is what refers to any kind of yeah.
Actually, I put it in my tweet. Hadath is passing the wind. It's and he actually in Arabic he said fusa'un aw durat, the silent one and the noisy one. I mean, we have two different words in Arabic. We have one for fusa, it's from fs, and durat from drrr. So we have the sounds. We make them 3D so you can feel them.
This is the stuff that Allah cares about. So
yeah,
you go to pray, you go and pray, you do your daily prayers as Allah commands them, and you stand there and you accidentally, you don't want to, but accidentally it comes out, you fart, and Allah is like, nope, go back. I'm not taking that prayer. I don't accept this one. Go back, wash yourself, go wash your mouth, wash your head, wash your elbows, wash your feet, and then come back and do this again. I'm not going to take that one. This is what Allah does. That's what Allah cares about. That's how important this is.
And you know, one time one guy asked Muhammad, he said, sometimes I feel I did it, but I'm not sure if it was really a fart or not. And Muhammad, he said, don't leave until you smell or you or you hear. It has to have a sound or a smell.
Yeah. That's the funny thing. When I became, this is actually very, very interesting to me. When I became devout and started doing my prayers and and studying and doing all of these things, I did start getting a little bit paranoid. It's a funny, weird thing to talk about, but I did start getting paranoid because I would do my ablutions, I would try to do all my 5 daily prayers, and sometimes I'm in the prayer, and this stuff is stressed and made so important that you start getting paranoid, you start getting weird
Yeah.
about it. And I thought to myself, okay, wait a minute. It felt like it felt like something just came out. Is my prayer valid or not? Is it should I
Y-
start over again? Should I go wash myself or not? And and I remember going and asking for advice on this. Like, this is the kind of stupid stuff Islam
Yeah.
makes you deal with.
Yeah.
This is the
My
paranoia.
my dad was really obsessed with cleaning very well and would do, and he was really afraid of any droplet of pee on his pants. And because Muhammad said that some people were tortured in the grave because of droplets of pee, they didn't really pay attention to that. Imagine, like, if somebody turns you to a person who is really obsessed. I'm not saying hygiene is not important here. Hygiene is very important, but like it's not this insanity that you will become like obsessed. Did I pass gas or not? And some Muslims hold it until they finish the prayer. So it starts hurting their digestive system just because of this stupidity, and because somebody doesn't like, he just made it up. Again, how can we believe him that God doesn't like somebody or doesn't accept a prayer because somebody farted? Imagine you ate a lot of beans. That day is gone, probably. No prayers for you.
I mean, just look at these. Just look at this. It sounds like we are making this very ridiculous, but it is ridiculous if you just read the sources. It says here, for example, narrated by Abu Huraira, Allah's messenger said, beware of smearing yourself with urine because it is the main cause of punishment in the grave. Another one says, it is reported by Jabir bin Abdullah that they had accompanied the Messenger of Allah when they came to 2 graves. Both the inmates of the graves were being punished. He said, they are being punished not for committing a grave sin, but yes, one of them was given to backbite other people while the other was not. Careful to clean himself of urine drops. So careful
Yeah.
to clean himself of urine drops. So he would occasionally drop urine on himself or his clothes, which is why he is now being brutally punished and screaming in agony in his grave before he will be eventually judged. This is the insanity, the terror that you are actually taught when you are a Muslim, most likely because Muhammad himself was very paranoid because he himself had psychological problems where he would
Well,
get obsessive about these things.
Well, from one side, you will find him paranoid about these things, and the same time, you find him like it's the most gross person. I mean,
Yeah,
he puts he pees and he puts it under his bed, so he smelled it the whole night. And when Ayman, his maid, comes and she drinks it, and I don't know how she didn't smell it. She drinks it, and he comes in the morning. He say, Ayman, where's that thing that was under my bed? She said, "Oh, I thought it's water. I drink it." And he was like, "Oh, your stomach will not see fire." So she was saved by the blood, not by the blood, by the by the urine of Muhammad. So
Alhamdulillah.
yeah, exactly. So he used to do that. In the same time, you read sometimes he just did his number two. And he came and he ate right away. He ate food without washing his hand, without touching water. They say he didn't touch water.
Yeah, see,
It, it,
this here is it is graded as Hassan Sahih, as a good and authentic, I guess, in chain
yeah, by
by
Albani. Yeah,
Albani. He says the Prophet had a wooden vessel under his bed in which he would urinate at night. So
yeah.
he keeps that under his bed, and yeah, that's
So
what I
you
do
find
too.
contradictions. They tell us like he's very clean, but like he's not actually. And he wipes his butt with 3 stones. How clean is that? I mean, can you be clean with that? And when you read about all these things, there's no hygiene actually. It's just obsession.
So everybody, you see, the Prophet Muhammad, he's the most perfect human to ever walk the face of the earth. We are all supposed to follow him and imitate him. And obviously, here it says that he had a wooden vessel under his bed in which he would urinate at night. So, guys, if you wake up at night and have to go to the bathroom to pee, just remember to do what the Prophet Muhammad did. Keep a wooden vessel under your bed so you don't have to get up and pee. Just pee into that wooden vessel. This is the solution to all of your problems, and with this, we can probably make society better. Inshallah. Inshallah. Yeah. All right. Anything you want to add before we
No, it
move
just
on?
I think we went through so much insanity with Muhammad, and I think if there are thousands of hadith, if we dig to each one of them, you will see so much stuff that
Wisdom. Yeah.
you will not believe. Did God send this guy just to tell us this stuff? Tell us, like, if you fart, I cannot accept your prayer. This is the final message to humanity. He's the final messenger. I mean, you imagine, like, the message will be about spiritual stuff, about your heart, about how you behave. No, I don't like farting. I mean, it's insane. This is what you want to tell us? I mean, who created us with farting system? You could have created us without a farting system, without gases, if you don't like it. Why you put a system that produces gas in us if you don't like it?
Well, this is important stuff, man. This is like the Prophet Muhammad, he came and he was like, "Oh, humanity, listen, I have been sent with a very important message. Do not fart during your prayers. Pray 5 times a day and do not drop urine on yourself. This is very important. I have been specifically sent to give you these instructions." That's that's Islam. This is the beauty of Islam.
Did the Romans need a prophet from Allah to know how to clean themselves? The Babylonians, they had soap 4,000 years before Christ. So people were clean without a messenger, and the Romans, they had their baths. They were even warm showers. They had warm baths. They had toilets. And they had ways to clean themselves. They had everything. They didn't need a final messenger to do this.
But what about the Egyptians? I hear that
Exactly.
the Egyptians used to do they would use the miswak and things like that. They would clean their teeth and all of that. They probably didn't come up with that by themselves. It was probably brought by a prophet of Allah to to tell them. Yeah.
And the funny thing, Muslims, they tell me, like, we are the cleanest people on earth, and you guys, you don't clean 5 times like us. I mean, wudu is not to clean yourself. It's just a stupid ritual. I mean,
Yeah.
even if I took the best shower with the best shampoo, with the best soap on earth, and I wanted to pray and I farted, I have to do your stupid wudu right away. This just shows you it's insane, has nothing to do with washing, with being clean. It's just somebody, he wanted you to do certain things, and it has to be the same order every time. It has to follow, and 3 times each thing. Like it has to be 3 times. And it's like you do it no matter what. And it just shows that it's not really for cleaning. It's not for hygiene.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And finally, the Prophet used to copy the people of the scripture in matters in which there was no order from Allah. The people of the scripture used to let their hair hang down, while the pagans used to part their hair. So the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, let his hair hang down first, but later on he parted it. Of course, this was such an important issue that the Prophet Muhammad, he couldn't get a distinct revelation about this from Allah. So he was like, okay, well, I guess if Allah is not telling me how to do my hair, I will just do what the Christians and Jews do for now, and then later on he changed that because he didn't like the Jews and Christians anymore. So he changed it into something different. This is the kind of important stuff that Islam comes with, and without this, we are all lost. And yeah. All right, wonderful, wonderful show. I will very briefly go through the super chats. If you want to hang around with me for this,
No problem.
feel free to. Stop Scamming Man said in Ibn Isak's 8th century. Oh, wait a minute. I pulled up a hadith that I just wanted to have you look at because it's so relevant to what we talked about. You probably know this already. It says, the Prophet said, the eyes are the leather strap of the anus.
Yeah, so you should not sleep. And if you sleep, you get loose.
Yes, yes.
And but for everyone else, for every Muslim, if you sleep, you have to redo your wudu if you want to pray. For Muhammad, he slept and he snored and he didn't do it.
Right.
And when they asked him why, he said, prophets, their eyes sleep, but their hearts do not.
Wow, how convenient. How convenient. How convenient. Yeah, I will say the same thing if somebody asks me. Yeah, I would say the same thing. This is the kind of brilliant wisdom we get from Islam. Stop Scamming Man said, in Ibn Isak's 8th century bio of Muhammad near the end, it speaks of Muhammad's commander, Khalid, doing atrocities and Muhammad doing nothing about it. Is that also where that is Khalid ibn Walid, right? Where Muhammad sends him to go and destroy and kill one of the goddesses. Was it Uzza? I think it's.
Yeah, and also like he said when he saw what Khalid ibn al-Walid did, he said, Allahumma inni abra'u layka mimma fa'ala Khalid ibn al-Walid. Like I am not. It's like he's not approving what Khalid ibn al-Walid did. That's what he said. But he didn't punish him. When Khalid ibn al-Walid killed those people.
Yeah.
He didn't punish him for it, but he said, I will not hold the blood of Khalid ibn al-Walid on my
Well, he was a good guy, so he was a good guy, and he did a lot of good things. So, so what if he just goes and massacres some people? So who cares? Muhammad also sent one of his men. I fail to remember who it was, although I like that hadith a lot. To destroy one of the Kaabas in Arabia, the Kaaba of Yemen, Dhul Khalasa. He sent one of his guys, and the guy went and destroyed that Kaaba. Oh, it was Jarir ibn Abdullah. He destroyed that Kaaba, and he also killed everyone around it. And he came back to Muhammad, and Muhammad said, blessings be upon you and your tribe for what you have done. So obviously, people going around in the name of Islam and slaughtering people and destroying their temples was nothing wrong. Muhammad was fine with it.
Yeah, and this tells you like where they defending themselves. It just again everything just adds up to show their defense theory. It doesn't hold up.
Yeah, and that, by the way, that source is right here. It says Jarir ibn Abdullah narrated, there was a house called Dhul Khalasa in the pre-Islamic period, and it was called Al-Kaaba al-Yamaniya, the Kaaba of Yemen. Allah's messenger said to me, will you relieve me from Dhul Khalasa? So I left for it with 150 cavalrymen from the tribe of Ahmas, and then we destroyed it and killed whoever we found there. Then we came to the Prophet and informed him about it. He invoked good upon us and upon the tribe of Ahmas. This is Islam according to the sources. This is Muhammad according to the Islamic sources. This is
Yeah.
not some Islamophobic story that we are making.
Was this in defense of themselves?
Well, Muhammad was bothered by that Kaaba, by that Dhul Khalasa, so he had to defend himself by sending somebody to go and destroy it and kill everyone around it. That was obviously self-defense. Oh boy, messed up. Really, really messed up. Stop Scamming Man said Islam says jinns can eat food, take the form of people, snakes, and dogs, and that there are Muslim jinns. Strange, none do dawah to humans by such things. There is also there is a hadith where Muhammad says that if you see a snake, what are you supposed to do? It could be a Muslim jinn. So
yeah, you have to say the ta'awud 3 times, and if it doesn't go, then kill.
Then kill, and it's probably not a Muslim jinn, because if it's a Muslim jinn, it will go away.
And
But
also
it's
the black dog is the devil.
Oh yeah.
Kill the black dog. All these kinds. Jinn can eat food, and they can eat bones. You have to leave bones. They can eat them. And Muhammad actually said, "Do not clean your butt with a bone because it's the food of your brothers from jinn."
Yeah. Do you want to take the Muslim jinn's food and wipe your butt with it? No.
No, you can't do that. Stones are better.
Grow Better said, "This is so in the gutter. What is not to love?" I know this is just Islam. Islam is always in the gutter. That's where Islam goes. Islam goes below the belt and all the places that you don't want to go or want to go. I don't know, depending on what you prefer. Rebecca Borg said, "AP, I have epilepsy and CPTSD, and the more I read and understand about the Prophet, the more I think he had the same 2 conditions or something similar." Much love and all the best, Rebecca. And I wish you ease with all of it. So CPTSD what's it? I forgot to remember the thing. I studied this field supposedly, but isn't it chronic PTSD or something like that? So it is long-term PTSD from after an event, and epilepsy. And Rebecca says, the more I read and understand about the Prophet, the more I think he had the same 2 conditions or something similar. So there are lots of speculations. Some people say he had temporal lobe epilepsy. Some people say that it was a different condition, but temporal lobe epilepsy is a strong theory because it presents the symptoms of the epilepsy, the seizures that we can read, and plus it can give him the psychotic symptoms, the hallucinations, and all of that. It could be a combination of things. It could be that he had a general, personality disorder together with some neurological disorders. It is hard to tell, hard to point at what specifically he had, but he definitely had some problems going on.
Because TLE is associated with many other stuff that we see in Muhammad. Hypergraphia, for example, writing excessively, and also hypersexuality, and also OCD, and also even violence. Some of the patients go into violence. We thank God that today we have stuff we can use, but in the old days they didn't have anything. People just live with it, and instead of reconciling with that, Muhammad just used it to his benefit, and he claimed he's a prophet. And sometimes I think he just lied flatly. He was not going through anything. He just used it to get sex, to get power, and to destroy.
Guys, I know that PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. What I'm trying to remember is the C in it, but I think it is complex. I think it should be complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So which is a distinct form of PTSD. But hey,
wait, why am I giant?
He's here.
Make yourself smaller, man. What is this?
You see, this is the truth. Look at you little weaklings.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have the weakling sound here. That's interesting. David, what's up? Why are you so
Yo,
late?
what's up? What?
Why are you so late?
Oh, I was recording a video making fun of your hero, Sam Harris.
Really?
Yeah.
May Allah punish you for.
I didn't tell you
making fun of the
beforehand
Prophet.
because I didn't want you. I don't want to break your heart beforehand, but it's done now. Can't stop it now.
You missed a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
us a few months
it's just you guys all jealous of Islam because you're both liberal Christians. AP pretending to be an atheist when he's actually a liberal Christian.
Hey, you know what's so funny? You're making that joke for those who don't get the context because the Muslims were accusing Brother Rachid and Robert Spencer of being liberal Christians because they were against the death penalty for apostasy, and they were saying that this is not right. The funny thing is, I actually sat down yesterday, and I also sent you a message, David, about this while I was looking into it. But I sat down yesterday to look at what all of the different Christian religious authorities of our time have said about the death penalty on apostasy, or specifically about the death penalty. So
Wait,
they
you did
don't.
this when?
I did this. What was it, yesterday? I don't know. And so I was looking through all of that, and so the first thing I come across is the Catholic Church and what it officially declares. Under Pope Francis, it says it directly condemns the death penalty altogether and says that although it was at one point required, it is no longer acceptable nowadays, and it is actually an attack against the human dignity and all of that. So the Catholic Church is altogether against the death penalty. You look at all the Orthodox churches; they all condemn the death penalty, not just for apostasy, the death penalty altogether. You look at so many Protestant churches; they condemn it, and some of them only say it may be appropriate for for something as severe as senseless murder. So the point being, you look into all the different branches of Christianity and all the authorities that you have, and you see that the vast majority of them condemn not only the penalty for apostasy, they condemn the death penalty altogether. And you have these Muslims sit there and say, oh, these guys are just against the death penalty for apostasy because they're liberals. They're not real Christians.
Yeah.
So who exactly is a real Christian?
Yeah, it's I mean that's the I mean there are two methodologies here. One, they figure out what they want the position of Christianity to be, and then they'll go through and find anyone at any point who said it and say, you see, that's why he said it. Anyone else who says otherwise is they're just wrong. So that's one methodology. The other thing is just like they get to define Christianity and who's a Christian, who's not a Christian. So they'll call AP a closet Christian who's pretending to be an atheist. They'll call me a closet atheist who's pretending to be a Christian. They'll call you, Rachid, a man who converted to Christianity. You're actually liberal because you don't support their views about killing apostates and so on. It's just like you look at this and it's like a big joke. It's like, this is like the stupidest, most insanely idiotic nonsense in the universe, and this is Dawa.
Yeah, I have to believe in killing people for exercising their right to choose whatever religion they want. I have to be a killer of those in order to be a good Christian.
Yeah, you have to. That's why Jesus said, "Pick up your sword, because if you don't, I'll slaughter you in the name of Allah."
Yeah, whoever left me, kill him.
Yeah. Somebody said the Orthodox Church hasn't. I don't know which Orthodox Church you're talking about. There are different Orthodox churches, but the Orthodox Church in Constantinople. Oops, I said the bad word.
Constantinople.
In America, the Armenian, they all have statements condemning the death penalty. I checked yesterday. I'm happy to correct myself if I find a correction to that. I know for one fact, the Coptic Church said that they are not fundamentally against the death penalty. They think it's justifiable in some cases, like murder, for example. Like murder, not even apostasy, it's murder. And these guys say, real Christians should
apostates.
be. Yeah, but it's ridiculous. Like, that's the funny thing. They say you should be killing apostates. You're not real Christians. You're just liberal. Where are the real Christians? Get some real Christians on here. It's ridiculous, man.
It's awesome.
Um,
Welcome to Dawa.
Yeah, Rebecca said she has epilepsy and CPTSD. If David Wood was here for that super chat, he would probably say good and make fun of her. Unfortunately, because he's a
That's what
psychopath.
I do.
But we wish her all the best. Stop Scamming Man said Ibn Ishaq's earlier account has Waraka living till years after Muhammad's claimed prophethood. I think the claim that Waraka died a few days later was an attempt to make Muhammad seeking to kill himself less erratic. Is a theory.
Yeah.
A theory. It's a theory.
Sorry, I think one of my kids is knocking on the door.
Nice.
Yep, come here. What? Not coming in. All right.
Okay. Oh. Sheikh Yogi Bear said Muhammad doubted. Had he not heard the beauty of Quran being recited?
No.
Yeah. Gornar's Bulldozer said, would giving Muhammad the low-tier God speech be too far? I mean, he was a nonce, but I think going back and giving him antipsychotics is more ethical. I don't know. If you want to go and time travel and tell him something good. What do you say, David?
No, I think you guys are just jealous.
Yeah, probably, most likely. Gornar's Bulldozer made another super chat, said, so according to Islam, Jesus did a substitution jutsu to avoid getting is this a reference to some cartoon to avoid getting crucified or
No.
something?
It's a misspelling of just. Stop making fun of people.
Just
a substitution just to avoid getting crucified. Or something.
It's probably some anime. It's not just.
It's an anime jutsu
or something. Does
like
this mean Muhammad had the Sharingan or something? See, there's more here. Yeah.
Jutsu is the villain from One Punch Man season 3.
Really? Oh.
No.
Okay.
No.
Rome said Naruto. See, it is a reference to some thing that adults are still watching.
Did a substitution jutsu.
Jutsu,
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. I don't blame you guys. Anime is cool. I still watch Dragon Ball Z sometimes, like a nerd. David is smiling because he thinks we are a bunch of nerds for doing that kind of stuff. Seed of Iblis said,
You're finished already. Look at me. You know you're done.
Seed of Iblis said, the sun goes where the sun don't shine. Don't question. It's a metaphysical matter.
It is a metaphysical matter.
Yeah. Seed of Iblis said, the eyes are the leather strap of the anus, world's greatest Islamic fartologist. Yeah. This is Islam. What a religion. Isa Apologetics said, thoughts on having Mike Watch on.
Don't fall for it.
Gosh, I did.
You were about to read it, weren't you?
Yeah.
You did.
I kind of did read it almost, but I actually
do you get the joke, Rachid? It's hard to see in a different language.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so the joke is it's like childish, but he wants you to say my crotch because when you say it fast, it sounds like my crotch.
Yeah.
Thoughts on having my crotch on? See, this is the level of AP's fans. They're intellectual.
I knew he was going to make it all about me again, but yeah.
I'm just saying, you don't see this stuff on my channel.
We see worse stuff.
Nothing but polite, nothing but super polite. And
we see worse things.
Very moral behavior.
Renew said, I battle insomnia with the soothing voice of AP. Much love to brother Rachid and stay away from Islam.
AP does have a soothing voice. When I can't sleep, that's what I do. I put on an AP video, knocks me right out. They call the apostate prophet audio ambient.
Yeah. This is a wonderful compliment, and I appreciate this very much. Thank you, David. Yeah. Yeshua the King said, do Christians eat pork because they're liberal? Yeah.
That's what notice. That's exactly the sort of thing they would say. They say, look, it's right there in Leviticus. It says it. It says that.
Yeah.
You see, you're not following the command in Leviticus. You're following the commands of your covenant. What's wrong with you?
Because of secular humanism. It's because of secular humanism. You believe that it says that what goes in does not defile you, but what comes out of it. That's what secular humanism.
Secular humanism came along, and Christians said, "Aha! Now we can eat pork because we're secular."
Messianic Apostle said Islam is like Abu Walid or of Salafi Media UK said that any form of governance other than the Sharia is the shirk i.e. the shirk of obedience. What do you say about this, Brother Rashid? Do you agree with them?
Yeah, of course. من لم يحكم بما أنزل الله فأولئك هم الظالمون. If you don't govern with what Allah gave you, then you are ظالمون, unjust.
Alhamdulillah.
So you have to govern with Sharia.
We're proud of that.
Yeah. Yeah. David, what do you say about this?
Nothing. I agree with Rashid. It's awesome.
Yeah. So therefore, we should always rule with what Allah sent down. And by the way, the like button is an apostate, so execute the like button while you're here, while you're watching.
Really, I think this is debatable on the issue of whether you should obey a non-Muslim government. You do see a pretty common position among Muslims, even lots of Salafis, is that that you have a contract with a government, so that if they are not actively oppressing you or your ability to be a Muslim or something like that, you're supposed to live according to the laws of that state, at least temporarily. The goal is ultimately to use that to advance the causes of Islam and eventually take it over. But I could see, I don't know, I can see this argued in either way, because Muhammad wasn't the prophet of consistency. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I learned the very same thing, to be very fair. I learned the very same thing when I was a Muslim, and when I was going around, I don't know, giving out messages for becoming a proper Muslim again. From my group, I basically also learned that that we as Muslims are supposed to obey the law of the land, as long as we are not commanded to do something that is contrary to Islam, as long as we are not told to disobey or to go clearly against what our religion teaches, which is why we were also told that we should just leave the Islamic lands and go to a Muslim land and live our lives there, because there we can practice our religion properly. Of course, lots of people don't do that. And one of the excuses is that you can live in a non-Muslim land to do several things. One of them is to spread Islam. And since every Muslim has the obligation to spread Islam, you are supposed to, while you live there, tell other people about Islam and to spread Islam. And once you have enough Muslims, once Muslims are the majority, you would turn it into an Islamic land and then no longer have to abide by the terrible laws of the non-Muslims. No, you will then finally have the truth and you can impose it on the non-Muslims. And
we're proud of that.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, we might want to start pushing this view more, right? Saying, yes, if you accept any form of governance other than Sharia, then you are committing the shirk of obedience, and therefore the only solution, the only way you're not going to hell, is to get out of there and go to Pakistan or Afghanistan.
Wow, David just said go back where you came from. So that's
I didn't say it. I said if you want to go that position, then actually go with it. I'm trying to save these guys from shirk, and I'm trying to save them from shirk, and you're attacking me. Come on.
You have to pack it in a nice way, like Muhammad Hijab. It's not me saying it, but I'm saying. Oh.
You see, think about. Do you want your daughters being educated by the kuffar? Well, even in Islamic schools in the West, no. You want them having no education beyond the age of 12. So take them to Afghanistan. It's the only place.
Alhamdulillah. I told the same thing to Daniel Akikachu, and he still says, well, it's because, there's no proper Muslim country. That's why I have to stay in America where all of the filth is. And, yeah.
Hey, Rashid, have you heard how Robert Spencer pronounces Akikachu? He pronounces it like he'll kick a Jew.
Kick a Jew.
That's not he'll kick a Jew. He'll kick a Jew. What's wrong with him?
Yeah, all right.
What's funny is I don't even know if he was started doing that deliberately. That's just how it sounds.
No, I don't think so. Knowing Robert, very serious.
All right. With that, I think we have pretty much come to an end of this, unless David feels like he didn't get enough time to speak, so he wants to kind of give a speech and say something.
No, we're gonna wrap up here, and I'm gonna go edit this Sam Harris video. Little Sam Harris
Awesome.
video. AP's gonna watch it later. Oh, my hero!
Why are you saying these things about my prophet, Sam Harris? That's what I will be doing. But thanks everybody for joining. Always stay away from Islam. If you are a Muslim,
Lose faith. I tell you, lose faith. It's better for you.
that's what you should do if you are a Muslim.
Wait, we're gonna be. What's today? Today's Friday. We're gonna be on your channel tomorrow, right, AP?
Yeah, we're going to be live again tomorrow.
Okay, good. All right.
My channel.
Well, for all the people who missed me, you'll see me tomorrow. You got Rachid instead. Rachid is the upgrade. He's the upgrade.
Yeah.
He's an ex-Muslim. He knows the Arabic better than they do, so he can just crush them all.
That's fantastic.
That's why he said that's why during that discussion he said like 25 things and they didn't respond to pretty much anything he said.
Alhamdulillah.
No. They dismissed it.
They dismissed it. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. We will be live tomorrow. And tomorrow you will have to see David next to me on my channel too during the live stream. And then the day after that, we will be on his live stream on his channel. Thanks for watching, and get all of the wisdom that we have shared with you on this stream. Make sure you get up for prayers in the morning. If you didn't, make sure to wash your ears in the morning, because you will find that they are wet because the devil pees into your ears. Make sure you don't fart when you engage in prayers and all of that. These are the problems that plague our society nowadays, and we have to make things right again for everyone. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a fantastic day. And as always, before you go and
You're sitting there watching Netflix.
make sure that you take the advice of our dear friend here, who always has one simple message for all of you. It is so simple that we have to repeat it every single time with his wonderful voice.
Stay away from Islam. Stay away from Islam.